I was reading approximately 2 books a year before I discovered audiobooks. Since then, each year, I have doubled the number of books I have read in my lifetime, which tells you more about how few books I had read until that point than about the method itself. But still, there might be some treasures in there for you as well. Hello, I'm Claire. I like some books. And I especially love to listen to the books because that is how I read more of them. Funnily enough, since I started listening to audiobooks, I'm also reading real-life books more. The first and the most important tip I can give you on how to listen more audiobooks is by listening them while you are doing mentally non-tasking chores. For me, that would be cooking, because I cook everything on autopilot. If I were to experiment with a new recipe, I would not listen to anything while doing that. But while I'm on autopilot, it's fine. While I'm doing the laundry, really don't need my brain for that. Just my hands. While I'm cleaning the bathroom or the kitchen or any other room. While I'm doing hygiene-related stuff, mostly related to dehairing, but I'm also known to put it on loudspeaker while I shower. I have a tiny problem, and I refuse to feel bad about it, because either the book is so interesting, I need to know what's going on, but I also kind of smell and I need to take a shower, or the book is so boring, I don't care if I miss something. This is 2 for 1, so amazing. My husband will also listen to audiobooks while doing the dishes and vacuuming. And this has become like his thing. And every time I even ask if he needs some help, he's like, no, this book is too interesting. I want to know what happens next. And that is definitely a sentiment that I can relate to, because my house is never as clean as when I'm listening to an amazing audiobook. I will find stuff to clean everywhere. I can't stop listening now. I need to clean the shower again. Some other activities that are good for listening to audiobooks for me are painting, or even better, coloring, building Lego, or sorting Lego, that one's even better, or playing a game that you know by heart, and again you can play it on autopilot. For me, that's Bejeweled, and a couple of less famous ones. That time, coloring, playing a game, sorting, I count as relaxing time for me, and having a book to listen to adds a layer of I'm also being productive while resting, which has actually led to me taking a break more often, which for me was a very good thing. We don't talk about 2018. So giving myself the permission to paint something or just play a game, because I'm also listening to the book, has had very beneficial effects on my anxiety. Also, I suffer from insomnia, or well, have suffered from insomnia. I would lay in bed tired, but not be able to sleep for hours sometimes. Now what I do is I put an audiobook on, gradually lower the volume as I'm drifting to sleep. And when I realize that I'm missing out on what's going on, I pause the book and I mostly sleep within 5 minutes or so. Listening to the audiobook has stopped me from going in circles of I'm not sleeping now, but I'm in bed, but I should be sleeping, but I can't sleep. I should be doing something else, but I'm not doing something else. I'm just wasting my time. And the audiobook just stops all of those thoughts, because at least I am listening to a book, and that's being productive, isn't it? And the weirdest part is that I actually fall asleep quicker with an audiobook. Maybe not so much at the beginning, but now that I'm a couple of years into this routine, it works like a charm and I absolutely love it. If for nothing else, I would recommend audiobooks to you if you're suffering from anxiety and you need to find some time for yourself to just relax, but you feel the need to be productive at the same time. Try listening to an audiobook while you're resting. And for the insomnia, it really helps me. And I keep mentioning for me, because this is a very individual thing. You will have to figure out which books you can read while doing stuff for yourself. This is a trial and error method. All of the things that I've listed, I know because I've done the trial and error. There might have been a burnt meal at some point, but now I know when I can and cannot listen to the books. And on that note, there are a couple of other things that I want to mention. For me now, listening to audiobooks comes as second nature. This is my default go-to thing. I don't watch TV in the evening. I don't listen to music that often. Instead, I always have an audiobook on. This is not for everybody, and you will not go from 0 to 100 in a month. This takes some getting used to. I would argue that I'm at a point where I want to slow down the reading and I want to read less. In 2021, I read 119 books, and I think it will be completely fine if this year I would get that number under 100. Mostly because that would probably mean that I've written more, but whole other topic. You also need to be okay that you are not gonna get 100% of the book. I feel like people have an issue with this because in their minds they feel like, well, if I'm reading the book, I get 100% of it. In my experience, that is not the case. I'm in 2 book clubs and I also discuss books regularly with my husband. And the thing is, you never get 100% of what's going on. You will not know the book by heart, whether you read it or you listen to it. It doesn't matter. There are some parts that you are gonna miss. And that is fine. That is completely fine. There's no book police that's gonna arrest you for missing that one sentence or forgetting that one unremarkable character. It's fine. That being said, if it's a sentence you missed or didn't hear because you were just putting some soy in hot oil, sizzling, you have the skip back 30 seconds button. I love that button. That button is your friend. I sometimes even have to go back 2 minutes because something else was going on. Mommy, I've just gotten a new skin in this game and it's so cool. You gotta see. And also with time, you will be able to anticipate when a distraction will be big enough that you will not be able to pay attention to the book. In those cases, just press the pause button. Deal with the thing you want to deal with and then resume. Or not, because this is the extra tip for people who are already listening too much, like me. Sometimes it's also okay to live in silence. For example, before filming this, I turned the audiobook off and gave myself some time to think, to mentally prepare to be in front of the camera. So while that commute can be an excellent time to listen to an audiobook, sometimes if you have a very important meeting, you need to give a presentation or something like that, you might want to skip the book in order to give yourself the mental space to prepare. While experimenting, you will probably find that there is a big difference, huge, ginormous difference between listening to a fiction book that doesn't take itself too seriously and a non-fiction book about something serious. The first one you will probably be able to listen to even if your kids are running and screaming around you. While the non-fiction book, you'll probably want to just sit and listen, maybe play some Bejeweled, but not much more. Also, a notebook might come in handy for those occasions. Do not hesitate to write down something that you find important. Press pause first. Obviously, If I missed any tips, because I know my life routine is very different from the routine of the average human being, please leave those tips in the comments, because I would really like to know when and how you listen to audiobooks and or podcasts. Until the next time you click on one of my videos, bye-bye. Well, I guess I can listen to something while this video is copying to the computer.